All right, cyber traders, we are back this Monday, July 12th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Great to see Patrick, Robert, Leda, Grant, all of us live inside the cyber group room, and for all of us in social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. Welcome on back. Got to say, hey, for a Monday, we did pretty well as we typically do inside our live trading room. But coming off the heels of last week, we had so many runners that Friday to cap things off from last week. It wasn't as good as Friday, but we'll take it. Personally, I'm up a little bit. I wish I was up more. I also feel like a bit of a loser today. I have more losing trades than winning trades. But if you're able to contain the losses and for the trades you're taking, if you're able to get in at right place, right time, you're still able to be profitable and be up a little bit like I am today. Now, if you ended up choosing a couple of stocks that maybe I didn't look at going into the morning or afterwards, got some stocks at the right place, right time, and are doing better, God bless. I mean, hey, you're probably having a lot better day, and hopefully you can keep that momentum going forward into the rest of the week. But we have class coming up, phase 1, lesson 2 across this month. So we'll be talking more about order types, market and limit orders, perhaps stop orders by the end of the class. So I want to zip right through the percent gainers and losers list. I'm in one trade right now. If I get to it, which I probably will get to, it's on the losers list actually. So I'll talk about that once I jump to it. We'll talk about Bitcoin really briefly. Unfortunately, it's starting to pull back a little bit here, and we'll see what comes of Bitcoin over the next few days. But let's start right from the top. Number one up 192%. We would have gotten to XELA in just a second, but we'll start with this one to begin. STFC. I've never seen this ticker before. Looks like a buyout to me. I don't know. It's up a lot, and it's like in a tight range here, just given the price. So my guess would be buyout. Not really going to follow a buyout here. SGOC, big mover from Friday to wrap things up from last week, right? This was really the bread and butter trade that we had from last week. And today it ended up breaking higher. So ended up making the squeeze shortly after the market opened up, got halted like 4 or 5 times, a couple on the way up, couple on the way down. And right now this thing's on the way down. So, hey, for this afternoon, not really too jumpy to put this on our watch list, for this afternoon. Definitely keep it in mind for tomorrow morning and remainder of the week. It's probably a warrant. Yeah, Lion's Heart. I guess one of those special purpose acquisitions. LCAP. I don't know. It's not up as much. Only up 1%. Interesting that the warrants are up 112. I don't know what's going on there, but we'll pass. MDIA, I saw Patrick pick up just over $3.50 per share on this stock. Ended up making a huge pop, at least going into the late morning, off of low volume to begin, really. But, thankfully this ended up pushing up, and we ended up seeing more traders jump in and trade the stock themselves. Ended up pumping roughly from 6, where it bottomed out at, all the way up towards over 10. Hey, for the afternoon, same to be said with this, as we just talked about with the SGOC. It's on the way down right now. Given the recent afternoon move, perhaps it's possible it makes a higher low, pushes back up to make a higher high. Maybe I'll come back to it at the very end of this meeting. Read it for the side list, I guess. Now, this stock works. WORX. This was a really good trade from earlier today, and an even better one right now. I sound a little surprised with that. I did call it out right before I started the meeting, but I was in transit right before I started the meeting anyway. I was coming back to my home office. So I came back. This was the first call out I made with about 5 minutes to go before this meeting started. And man, it's still pushing up now. It looks like it actually had a bit of a shake and then it pushed back up. Yeah, this thing actually just had a nasty shake from the high of the day. HOD at 292 dropped all the way down at 265. But, given the severity of the bounce back up, it goes to show how strong the stock is. Looks like it wants to make the move up to 3 at least, the WORX stock. But definitely put this on the main list here. Let me zoom out here. TPST, this one. Oops. This one ended up making a big pop in pre-market, ended up making the bounce nicely around 10:30 Eastern time, roughly around reversal time, right? So, it goes to show for as much as the stock ran up in pre-market, we had profit taking after the open, but man, right around 10:15, 10:30, 11 o'clock perhaps, you round up towards, but ended up bottoming out right around 28, ended up providing for a nice play from there, but yeah, right now on the way down too. A lot of these stocks from the morning ended up finishing up their moves right around 12 p.m. Eastern time, if not earlier, and only have been dropping off since. This one, DTSS, same thing. Oh man, this CRTD was ugly from this morning, but another one kind of like Works where it was pushing up going into the afternoon meeting here. And I came back to my desk, I called out Works, and then I saw, I think it was either Norman or Pat ended up calling out the CRTD moving up higher. And I don't know what the float is on this stock. Actually, I'll take the time to check while I'm at it, but I would assume pretty low. It's a stock that I'm not really too familiar with myself, a stock that, which means that we've never really called out too frequently inside our trading room. 7.8 million share float. This stock, how much volume per day was this thing trading? A few 100,000 shares a day across June, maybe 1 million shares there. And then just from last week, I saw a day where it was trading 18 million. So that was probably the first day where we had called it out. But nonetheless, ended up making a really nice run going into the early afternoon from like 5 all the way up towards almost 750, topped off at 740. And now, though, I mean, what goes up comes down twice as fast. So, you got to try to avoid holding on to these stocks any longer than you need to. When the volume dies off very quickly like this, oftentimes the stock does the same thing. So it happens here, thankfully led to a higher high, but you can't keep expecting that. Once we ended up seeing the real profit taking come in going into 2:10 Eastern time here, broke below 7. Now that was a wrap. All right, CETX, this one was over 2 when it ended up false breaking from $2.20 just earlier here. 220 was a nice level. I was calling that out going into the early afternoon before I left the office, but I picked up 20 cents on it. I got back in from 231, then I ended up taking a 2-cent loss. I'll call it a 2-cent loss here, given the price of the stock. I would call it a break even or a scratch trade otherwise. But it goes to show again, you don't need to hold on to that trade any longer than I needed to here. So once it broke below 230, I took my tiny little loss on my second trade of this stock and right back down to 2. All right, keep it going. See what else we got here. IMTT, I guess you could say it's a little close to the highs of the day right now. I wish it was closer, but also this stock is so shaky. It looks like over the last, close to an hour, just in this tight range. But even before that, you could say it's steady off the lows, but just relatively shaky minute by minute. You would expect perhaps a big pop, and you don't really seem to get it on this one, just more of a trend off the lows. MTSL, again, same thing with this as we said before with the others. I mean, pumped up early in the morning, ended up dumping off, led to a nice bounce roughly from 660, 655 even. I had a line on my chart, I think it was right off of 660, ended up bouncing up pretty nicely from there. But now at this point, same thing, right? Dumping off. Keep it going. I think we notice a pattern here now. CLWT, a little shaky. I'm not really too high on this. AEHL, same thing. Oh, up until just before, the AEI was looking pretty good. Ended up topping off right around 620, and it pulled back down even below 6. So, I don't know. This one before was looking pretty good. I was pretty excited to at least look at this with you folks, and now not as much. Ah, man, not a whole lot else on the gainer side here. I mean, hey, the SPY's at the high of the day. Market's up really nicely from Friday, where it finished up pretty strongly. So great to see the continuation that we're having this today. But BBIG, if I'm not mistaken, this was like either a Bitcoin play or an NFT, one of the digital art type of stocks. I don't know. It's moving up a little bit off of 4. Nice play here so far into the afternoon. I'll put it on the side list. I'll come back to it definitely by the end, see what it's up to. Now, Norman called out LAC was moving up just before, or at least I caught that a moment ago. And yeah, it's at the highs, right? So this one looks a lot better compared to some of the others that we've been going through on the gainer side, up 10+%, trading 6.2 million shares roughly. It's on the way up towards hole number 16. I don't know if it ended up just breaking above it a moment. No, it didn't. High of the day is 95. Here's 90. It topped off at just before. I would assume for there to be a bigger order on the ask than what we currently have at 16 bucks, just over 1,000 shares. So look for 16 to be the bigger level here, but definitely the LAC will add on our list, the main list with the works. So that makes 2 so far. Jinko Solar. Again, we've been kind of referencing this more as a swing trade of late. Pretty expensive also. All right, I'll tell you, that just about does it on the gainer side, unless if I skipped over XELA. Did I not talk about this yet? XELA? I guess I didn't. This ended up making a really nice pop before. I guess I skipped over this. I probably shouldn't have, right? We've been following this stock over the last week and a half, and we talked about it at the end of last week on Friday. For a stock to make a really good move, one day is nice, but you gotta have it earn your trust in order for this stock to be like a side list type of stock, a stock that you can rely on a day-to-day basis. The float's really low. My prediction is that they're going to do some sort of direct offering if they haven't already. I don't think they have, but my prediction would be that at some point soon they'll be doing some sort of direct or common stock offering. Given how low the float is, this stock's been trading like 200 plus million shares a day. I mean, more often than not over the last week and a half. So either way, it's just to say this stock, given the volume it's been trading, I mean, we love it. So for where it's at right now, I mean, it's just starting to dump off now off the HOD at 363. But we'll put this back on our list. The XELA, more of a level 1 to 2 stock so far right now. Maybe more of a level 2 to 3 off the pop, but it's slowed down in volatility since. All right. Gary W. inside our live trading room is saying the MDIA trade, a stock I put on the side list, is just popped. And Robert says, and halted. Wow, look at that, right? So great call, gentlemen. I like that. The MDIA trade we'll put on our main list now. Add that on the side. There we go. Very nice. Got to see that. And RJF on YouTube about a minute ago is asking, I'm just catching that now. He was asking if it had one last push. Asking you shall receive, I guess, right? So really nice push so far. Off the reopen, I don't know where it's going to reopen to, if it's higher or lower, if it's going to push up higher afterwards. Let's look on the daily chart really quickly, or maybe weekly or monthly chart while we're at it. Got to just make sure this is the furthest I can go back on the chart. Yeah, 20 years. So relatively new IPO, looks like, or SPAC or IPO, whatever it's listed as, back from January of last year, topped off at an all-time high of 17. So this is not all-time highs. This is definitely 52-week highs, right? So great to see. But 17's the top, and then otherwise look to see orders on the ask roughly every whole number to begin on this one, if not every 50 cents. But yeah, great call. The MDIA we'll put back on our main list. All right, so we'll hop over to the loser side here. The stock that I'm in, I was up a few cents. Now I'm like basically break even. It's unfortunate. I'll show that to you folks in just a second. And now that I'm break even, now that it's pushing back down, I'm not as likely to put it on our main list. So which one is it here? The MMAT trade. I'm in on MMAT. See right there. Currently in. I'll mention it. I'm in on a larger share size, and I don't advocate for many to do that. The reason I'm looking at MMAT, or I was looking at MMAT, at least up until right now, where it's starting to pull back. Let me set my damn stop here and make sure that I don't get stopped out, or make sure I don't take a huge loss, I should say. Actually, let me lower that a bit. I'll go 95 and lower. There we go. All right, so MMAT, I was interested in going into the market open. It was down a lot across the last few days, and then just even from the last month practically. This stock was formerly known as TRCH, Torchlight. Just for right now, though, it's pulled back. I was hopeful to have this push up higher, or not higher, but a little bit up further into the afternoon. So I set my stop. It's right off the low of the day there, 395. Really, if anything, if 398 breaks, I don't think it'll be too good for my position. But I hate to see this drop here. I was up, like I'd said, just about 12, 10 cents, if not more. I was trying to sell some at 420, and I ended up missing that. And I decided not to sell, and we'll see what happens here. It's not looking as good now for my position. If it ends up popping back up a little bit more by the time I finish this meeting, maybe I will put it on our list. Perhaps that can make a higher low and squeeze back up even higher from where it last peaked at. But yeah, we'll get back to space here because I know that Nicholas on YouTube was saying space is getting clobbered. Could be a good short. I mean, yeah, definitely. That was our focus going into the market open today. They ended up having a common stock offering, I think, totaling like 500 million shares or $500 million, I should say. They didn't list what the price per share it was listed at. But either way, it ended up taking a huge hit after the market opened up, dropped from 51 all the way down to 41 practically now. And yeah, definitely put this on our main list, the space trade. More of a level 4 to 5 stock. It was definitely level 5 earlier this morning. For right now, the spreads have contained, and I saw that. Don't let that thing disappear. I saw like a 30,000 share order on the bid. From the corner of my eye, I thought I saw just about 33,000 shares on the bid right off of 41. Maybe I'll go back on the recording to make sure I'm not crazy there. But either way, a whole number, you would assume for that to be a really big price point to follow. Seems a little choppy around 41 to begin, but watch to see if there's more volume on the bid. And if that gets filled, then perhaps we'll see the next big move on the way down for that space trade. All right, let's see. What else we got here, folks? On the loser side, at least for right now. Triple D. All right, I'll tell you, that just about wraps it up for me. If there's anything else that you folks see that's up, down, left, right, more than 5%, then type it in the chat board. I'll show you Bitcoin, at least coming off the weekend, where we last left off with it on Friday afternoon. SGOC trending up, Peter is asking. I don't know if he's saying that or asking that. No, it's trending down. Definitely trending off the highs really nicely. For as much as it pumped up the last 2 days, I'm not assuming it's going to move up into the afternoon. If it does, then I'm sure Rich L will call it out in the trading room while we're in class. That's it. From Leda, Clove Pop. I skipped over that to begin, but yeah, really good call. And then we're going to get to the MDIA in just a second here. But yeah, for right now, Clove, interesting pop. Let me take a look on Clove, see if there's any news from Benzinga Pro on this. Familiar name. Actually, there was news on this. Off the top of my head, I thought there was another sell rating on this from a company or firm. Yeah, JP Morgan ended up downgrading them in pre-market, announced the $9 price target, which it was already there. And I don't know, getting a bit of a squeeze here, Leda. It's a stock that we've been following. You can call it a Reddit stock, a meme stock, whatever. I don't like the label. Just it's a very heavily shorted stock. That's all you need to know. So perhaps we're seeing some shorts cover, which could lead to some day traders like us getting enticed to follow it. If it ends up, pulling back and the volume wanes back down completely, then at that point probably scratch it from your list. But right now, I'll put it on our main list. We're familiar with this stock. It's one that we've done well on in the past. It has great liquidity. I like this one. It's not up or down a whole lot, but we'll take it. Hopefully it continues, right? That's all we can ask for. MDIA reopen. There you go. Nice pop to begin things, but that spread's huge. Got to be really careful on this stock. This definitely is more of a level 5. Space pushing a new low of the day already, says Andre. Let me take a look at that. Did that already break? Wow, it broke below 41 already. All right, so here's how we could tell if I'm crazy or not about seeing the 43,000 share or 33,000 share order I thought I saw at 41. Maybe they had it there and they pulled it. The reason I say that is because, well, there's no selling at 41 here. So either I'm crazy or either they had the order there and they yanked it, which led to the big drop. Either way, it's leading to a new low of the day, like Andrea's pointing out. So yeah, this one definitely it's already on our list, but it's at the top. From Kevin, he was asking, what was the last stock that I referenced? The Clove stock. Kevin, I'm going to type the list out to every one of us inside the trading room as soon as I'm done with the meeting, but that was the CLOV trade right here. All right, so we're going to wrap it up with a little Bitcoin coming off the weekend. I showed where Bitcoin was heading into the weekend. This vertical line practically represents where we were heading into the afternoon meeting. This is an hourly chart, so back from Friday afternoon. So, hey, it ended up popping up. Nice little move up here. Looked good. Dump it back down. Just, it was in that range. Now, unfortunately, here's what I was alluding to going into the weekend. But unfortunately, it backed off from it further. So the 500 EMA on the hourly chart, we've been saying how strong of a level it's been and holding really well, head and shoulders here and dropping off. Well, it ended up popping up early, or rather not early, I should say yesterday afternoon at 4 o'clock, ended up having a nice squeeze up. So hopefully this was, or we were hopeful that this was the beginning of, a nice rally, and to see this finally clear the 500 EMA and make for a sharper recovery back up. But as you could see here, going into the morning, like, overnight into the AM, ended up dumping back completely down and, pulling back a bit further, lower from where we last left off Friday afternoon, right? July 9th, 2 p.m. So let me go back to the 6-hour chart, because that's kind of what I was studying and saying, looking at Bitcoin, why can't this make the same play on the 6-hour chart as it made on the hourly, in the sense of moving back up or closer to its 500 EMA? 500 EMA on the 6-hour chart, right around 41,000. So perhaps I was hopeful to see this try and make that move, but once again, you can see it kind of just hold where it was. This is the 100 EMA on the 6-hour chart, and that's been holding really nicely. So back down we go, back into the tight range we've practically been in for the last 2 weeks. So, we're looking good for a moment up until this morning. So we'll take a look at Riot and Mara. Looks like Riot and Mara are more kind of bouncing up pretty nicely, at least here. Markets are up. S&P and the Dow are both at the highs. So for what it's worth, we'll keep our eyes across the Bitcoin mining related stocks, but obviously more so Bitcoin as we go across this week. All right, David said, looking like a bearish Fausto flag on the 6-hour chart. That was Bitcoin. Show that one more time, just for fun. It's just kind of squeezing in. You could say perhaps if it pulls back lower, perhaps towards like 32.5, perhaps that could be a bit of a support, which can confirm the Fausto flag, the descending triangle, essentially, and for it to break lower. But we're not looking for that. I mean, hopefully it goes the other way, but only time will tell. All right, so folks, that's going to wrap it up for me here. Actually, we got one stock, at least at this point, that I still have on the side, the BBIG, and that's not doing a whole lot right now, so we're going to call it. All right, so all in all, we got 2, 4, 6 stocks to work with. Not too big, not too little. I kept it simple, just like Fausto does. All right, so I'm going to copy and tweet the picks out to all of us right now for all of us in social media. I appreciate you sticking with me each and every afternoon, as always. If you're a new member joining us on social media, just make sure to like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel. Hit that notification icon, that bell, that being right at youtube.com/cybertradingu. Otherwise, if you've yet to join us live inside our trading room, feel free to join us. Go right down to the link on the banner below just to get yourself started. All right, for all of us there, I know that Rich is going to post the link for class also coming up really shortly from right now too. All right, so for most of us, I look forward to speaking with you in class. Take care.